When starting in Illustrator, if this is your first time, Lesson 1 is the place to begin. To get started on Lesson 1, you should have downloaded this Lesson 1 folder, and you should also have installed Adobe Illustrator. If this is not your first time opening Adobe Illustrator, have a look in the book on how to reset Adobe Illustrator so that it does act like it's your first time. When you're ready, double-click on the Start 1 AI file. Now, just like in all of the other Adobe software, you have most of your tools over here on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, you have a variety of panels and palettes, and you can find those by clicking on the name, or you can go up to the Window drop-down menu to be able to find them. Additionally, there's other tool options found in the Control or Options panel up here at the top. Right now, I can't see them, so let's go up to Window, down to Workspace. I'm going to choose Essentials Classic. Under Essentials Classic, you can see this also gives us a little Options tab. For this lesson, however, let's go back up to Window and choose Workspace and make sure the Essentials are selected. If for some reason you can't see all of the tools necessary, you can also return to this workspace and reset the Essentials to make sure everything is set back into normal view. Speaking of normal view, we want to be able to see all of our artwork. So let's go up to View and choose Fit Artboard to Window. And this will make sure it's nice and centered inside of our window. The keyboard shortcut for doing this is Option or Command 0, and to zoom in and out, just like in Photoshop, is Command plus and minus. Now, some of the most important tools that we're going to be using are found in the top of our toolbox. The first one is the Selection tool. You'll notice that if you hover over it, you'll get the name of it and some tooltips that pop up. With this black arrow selection tool, let's go down to the very bottom of your screen. Again, you can do Command and the plus sign to zoom in. And let's select the words starting at $89, and let's move it straight up until it's underneath the shoes. With it selected, one of the things that Illustrator did, besides selecting just the content or the artwork, is it also selected the color. At the bottom of your tool panel, notice that you have two color swatches, a fill color as well as an outline or a stroke color. Since this is filled in with just a solid purple is what we have as our fill color. If we wanted to choose some other tools, locate the rectangle tool a little bit lower on your tool panel. When you click and hold, this will pop out with some other tools that are nested inside of it. Choose the star tool. And with the star tool, let's click on the edge here and drag to create a new star. If your star is off center a little bit, let's use our black arrow selection tool to move it into place. If you ever need to deselect something, you can either click away off of the artboard where nothing is selected, or you can always go up to Select and Deselect. Now let's scroll up until we can see the word Vibes that are behind the legs. Choosing the word Vibes, we'll select it. It'll also open up your Properties panel. Inside the Properties panel gives you full control over a variety of different properties you can do to this selection. Notice also in this Properties panel, you have a Fill and Stroke option. Let's click on the Fill, and you can see this gives us a pop-out of some selected predefined swatches. With it selected, let's choose this pink to change the fill color from that purple to pink. Going back down to the little star that we drew, select it. Whenever you have something selected, a little contextual taskbar appears below. This gives you the ability to do some common tasks without having to use your keyboard shortcuts. If you wanted to duplicate this, notice that duplicate is no longer an option inside of here, but it is an option in the textbook. So rather than using the contextual taskbar, we're going to hold down the Option key or the Alt key if you're on a Windows and click on the object and then drag it over here. When you let go of your mouse first, this will create a duplication of that star. Once again, I'll go to Select and Deselect to deselect it. Now, right now, all the tools that are in our toolbar are just the basic, most commonly used tools. There are many more. If you want to see the rest of them, you can go to Window, down to your toolbars, and choose Advanced. This will open up all of the tools that some are nested underneath each other, but all of the tools will be now selected inside of this toolbar. Let's locate the eraser tool, click and hold on it, and then locate the knife tool. With the knife tool selected, you can hold down the Command key if you're on a Macintosh or the Control key if you're on a Windows, and it will automatically swap over to the Selection tool. Holding down that key, let's click on the little rectangle, the light orange rectangle behind starting at. You can now let go of your Command key, and this turns back into the knife tool. With this tool, let's click and drag a diagonal line across this bottom edge to cut into it. Now it's okay if it's not a perfectly straight line. Yours can be jagged. That's what the tool is supposed to do. Now to make it stand out a little bit more, once again, let's choose our selection tool at the very top. This time we'll click away to deselect everything, and then click again on this area to select just this portion of it. In the contextual taskbar, we can select our fill color, and let's choose a different version of this orange. Now at any time, if you need to put these panels out of the way, you've got a couple of different options. First off, at the top of every panel is a set of little arrows that you can click to collapse them down, and you can see this collapses down into their name. You can also click on the edge of them and drag them in until they're all the way down collapsed to their icon. Now, of course, at any time, you can click on their icon or their name, and it'll pop out to the actual full selection of properties and panels. You can also click on the name of the panel and drag it off and place it wherever you want. Or you can take a panel and you can drag it back on and place it back inside of here, just in a different order. Then finally, at any time, if you want to reset these panels, go to Window, down to Workspace, and you can tell it to reset, and that'll put everything back to the way the Lord intended. A final place you can find all of this information is found up here at the very tip top. Choosing this allows you to select whatever type of tool layout that you want for your workspace, and this one allows you to arrange all of your documents in a variety of different ways if we had more of them set up. Now within some panels, you can also change out the properties for each of that panel as well. For example, if I open up my swatches panel, you can see that these are listed as little small icons. Clicking on the little three dots of any panel opens up the options for it, and this gives you the ability to customize inside of there. So for instance, I can view these now as small listed view, and this will list everything out in a nice little organized list. From here, I can go back to a small thumbnail view or even large thumbnail view if you needed that. So being able to customize it gives you full control over how things look and appear inside of an area. Finally, inside of some of these that are docked together, if you ever see little three dots, that gives you full other options that may open up as well. For example, the Align panel, when clicking on this, pops open and also gives you Align, Distribute, and Distribute Spacing, and the full options that go with this entire panel. Inside of the Properties panel, a lot of these panels can also be found under the Window drop-down menu. This fully lists out every panel that's available in Illustrator. If it's got a check next to it, that means it's been opened. If it doesn't have a check next to it, such as the Pathfinder, you can open it up, and here you can see this panel is now ready to go. Just like all the other panels, you can click on them and drag them over to your panel box and dock it there. Then you'll have full access to it whenever you need it. We've already encountered this, but if you need to zoom in and out, you can go to View, there's Zoom In, Zoom Out, and Fit to Artboard. I'm going to choose Fit to Artboard for now. The keyboard shortcuts are Command +sign and -sign. Notice that it automatically zooms into whatever you have selected. If you don't have anything selected, it'll simply zoom into the center of your screen. There is a tool dedicated to zooming. It looks like a little magnifying glass. With this tool, you can click to zoom in on an area, or you can click and drag to scrub zoom on it. If you hold down the Option key, it's going to zoom back out. Hiding underneath your zoom tool is also the hand tool. This is known as the panning tool. With this allows you to quickly and easily move around by simply clicking on your artboard and dragging it. Now here's a great tip. At any time, you can select any other tool. I'm just going to pick the eyedropper tool and press the space bar. The space bar automatically turns into that tool and allows you to move it around. And so you can let go and resume using the original tool. If you need to rotate your view, choose Rotate View Tool. And with this one, this allows you to click and drag and rotate the view of whatever you're looking at. Now, if you ever need to return to normal rotation, you can simply double click on the tool, and this resets the regular view. If we need to zoom into a specific level, look at the very bottom left corner of your panel. Notice with this one, you get a little drop-out menu. We'll select it, and this gives some predefined zoom levels that we can select. So if we wanted to zoom way into 400%, there we are here. Then we can use our space bar to click and drag and be able to move around. If you're on a laptop, you can also pinch to zoom on your little trackpad. If you need to open any type of document, you can go to File and down to Open. This will give us our Open Navigator, and let's go to Lesson 1. This time, let's open up the Lesson Start 2 and say Open. Now, you may be greeted with a fonts warning, and if this is what happens to you, that's okay. We can simply say Activate or Close to close out this dialog box. From here, we'll also say Skip. Notice that because I didn't have the font installed, it highlights my text in a solid pink. This simply indicates that whatever font that is being shown is the default font on my system. Now, since we're working in a vector drawing software, everything that you see is being rendered by the computer. If we wanted to see the individual vector lines, we can go up to View, and go to Outline Mode. This will choose everything and show it as the original outline version, and we're not seeing anything rendered. Doing this allows us to easily zoom in and select just the vector path that we need to be able to edit. It also tends to show any problems or issues that may not be visible because of the rendering. To go back to it, let's go back to View, down to Pixel Preview. Pixel Preview also renders it, but in this case, it gives you the pixelation version of what your artwork would look like if it was to be rendered in another pixel-based software. If you go up to View, back to Outline Mode, and then Preview Mode, you can see now on this one, it gives you the full rendering without the pixelation. If you go up to View and Fit to Window, you can see that this artboard is now inside of our area because that's the one that we had selected. If you go over to your Properties panel, under your artboards, you can see this document has two different artboards. We can either select it here, or we can use the arrows to go back and forth between each one of those. Now with this done, we can close out both of our documents. Clicking on the little X at the top will close out this individual document. We don't need to save it. And clicking on the X at the top here will close out the original document. Notice that Illustrator remembers the last couple of documents that we've previously opened up. Now, if you have another version of Illustrator that you've opened up other documents, those will also appear down here, or you can go up to File, down to Open Recent, and they'll all be listed here as well. Now, this is the end of this particular lesson. Again, there's nothing to turn in. This is simply an introduction to working in Illustrator.